I get the feeling that no one at the BBC expected the Great British Bake Off to explode the way it did. At least not to the point where it gets 10 million viewers on its opening week. I mean, it's not as though we're short of cookery shows, and I've never understood the appeal of them, to be honest. Least of all, what makes two cookery shows different from each other, aside from the occasional gimmick. Whenever I've watched any of them, it's like watching a screensaver. Introduction of some people. Footage of some people making food, accompanied by incidental music. Occasional bit of banter. More footage of people making food. Tasting and/or judging bit. The incidental music gets slightly more serious, but not serious enough to actually induce any feelings of excitement.
He's got a plan. He knows he's going to cook rice, he knows he's going to cook a prawn dish, it's now making sure it's full of flavour.
I'll take them off or do I leave them on? Forget it, here we go.
You're not peeling them?
No.
So when my girlfriend first asked me to watch the Great British Bake Off with her, and for some reason that I still can't fathom I said, yeah, alright then, I never expected to get 10 minutes in and find myself really into it for some reason that I still can't understand. Yeah, I was shocked too. I don't know why, but I just found myself screaming, "Come on, Val, you can win this shit! Bake those Jaffa cakes like a fucking champion!" It took me a while to put my finger on it, but I think the Great British Bake Off's success is primarily down to its tone and the way it's edited. When it comes to contest shows all about impressing a judge, I usually find it to be a very negative environment. Of course, you all know that Simon Cowell made his name on being bitchy, and of course Britain's Got Talent does the old let's bring on an act that you can laugh at all the time, and that air of humiliation just feels very mean-spirited to me. But the Great British Bake Off isn't like that at all. It's very warm, very friendly, just very human. It feels like your television's giving your eyes a warm hug. Well, not literally, of course. That's actually quite a horrible metaphor now I think about it. Way too horrible for this show. I'm sorry. Please forgive me, Mary Berry. I offer £1 of my own flesh in penance. Forgive me. Forgive me. The Great British Bake Off is just so nice. Just so intensely nice. So nice that it's almost sinister. There's something almost too perfect about Bake Off, and it's all in the editing. You may not think about it as you're watching it, but I can totally see why there have been complaints from former Bake Off contestants about the show being composed of ridiculously stressful 12-hour filming days. There's this bit from an old Charlie Brooker show, which I'm going to link to in the description, where while stood on a log, he says, "Oh, TV must be easy to make. It's as simple as falling off a log." And then he falls off the log, and then he reveals, actually, it isn't. Even just this clip of me falling off a log took hours and hours to film, because TV is notoriously expensive and time-consuming. You got all these creative decisions and rules and guidelines to follow, and the BBC in particular is under even more scrutiny than most broadcasters because it's publicly owned. And just think here, these are ordinary members of the public. They're not presenters, they've got no experience, and yet they are essentially presenting here. There's cameras everywhere, they're talked to by the host or judges every 5 minutes, and you got to be chirpy and interesting constantly all day. And if you happen to stumble over what you're saying to a judge, they might ask you to retake it or wait while they get a shot that they can cut to cover up any lines that you stumble over for the final edit, so they can hide any fluffs. There's not a second in this show that feels awkward and uncomfortable, and not a second of the runtime is wasted. From start to finish, we're always either hearing a contestant saying something, Mel and Sue making a joke, Paul and Mary saying something interesting, a fact comes up about food, we learn something about a contestant, we get some very brief pleasing visuals interspersed. The editing is so precise that fuck knows how long one single sequence in it takes to make when you actually break it down. Just imagine just how many hours and hours worth of unused footage there must be from just a single episode of Bake Off. And just how stressful partaking in it must be if you've never been on TV before. Like this bit here where we show what one contestant does for a living, and it's just a couple of seconds of him at work looking at a thing.
Andrew's from Northern Ireland, but now lives in Derby and works as an aerospace engineer.
That probably took about 7 hours to make. I'm not even joking. Just think, you got to travel to his work, arrange it with the owners of the building, set up the cameras, risk assessment, multiple takes, multiple angles, all just for that 5-second shot. The quality control isn't like amateur vloggers like you or me. Okay, so could you just look at that thing there and sort of look serious and like you're thinking about something? Okay. And go. Yeah, that'll do. See you, everybody. It's almost disturbing how perfect The Great British Bake Off is. The show may look all nice and happy and smiley, but under the surface, this is hour 7 of a filming day. 5 hours to go, and only 12 minutes of those 5 hours are going to make it to the final edit. And every second of it has got to be precise and neat and perfect. Now make us that lemon drizzle cake, and it better be fucking gorgeous or we bring out the man with the whips again.